All right, guys, it's auction draft time. No more waiting for your turn. You control the money. You control the absolute madness. Let's jump into this industry mock draft and let's see who walks away with a steal or who's overpaying for their guy. G'day, guys. I'm D-Mac from NBA Fantasy Bible here on the Believe in Fantasy Network. I've got a couple of mates with me, Matty G and Kingy, Adam King. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Just doing some industry pickup prep in the background, getting ready for the auction draft on Sunday, I believe. And so I'm just doing some groundwork for that team.
Yeah, a lot of big fantasy personalities. Matty G, I think we're in the same league, aren't we?
Yeah, we are in the pickup. I want to be an auction, but I just know that I'm going to get PTSD doing it again with Kingy, who decided to use this as an experiment where he didn't participate but coordinated it just so he could see everybody else's strategy for his draft.
Yeah, so voyeuristic, isn't it? It's a little bit scary.
It's like, tell me your secrets, people. Kingy, what was the biggest secret you picked up from this thing, being the destruction person in charge?
That Kayla Fonte has a weird fascination with Dyson Daniels.
There's a reason why I've highlighted that, because that was the thing that stood out most for me. And we'll go through it. There were some big personalities. Kingy, you were the voyeur, so you got to sit back and enjoy. I went for a completely crazy strategy, and I'll go through that shortly. But I went for stars and scrubs, and I got a couple of stars, and you can see that. And like I said, we'll go through that shortly. But my scrubs are real scrub-like. But Matty, you did something similar, not to the same degree as me, but
we didn't know. What did I text you? The name of my team was before we kicked it up. I'm like, I'm going for an approach. Here we go. It was where did I use the name for it? I used the name, and then I messaged the exact same thing to Josh Lloyd. I think I was like the cautionary tale. Was it not? Was that not the words?
Oh, something like that. Yeah.
Here we go. Yep, sure thing. Here we go. The cautionary tale draft. Because my approach was, I know auction draft isn't always new, and Kingy, I think it's you agree with this. I think it's one of the purest formats of fantasy basketball.
Yeah, I love auctions. They do take time and organization, and I mean, even in this one, we had Chad, who maybe overslept a little bit, or but we got him in there eventually. But yeah, no, I love auctions and all the different strategies, and as the sort of host, I guess I noticed pretty early on that both of you guys were going that stars and scrubs, because you bid, you filled up 3 spots early and then had a bit of a rest for an hour.
Twiddling my thumbs for a fair bit, which was good because I had to get ready for work and get the kids ready. So it probably
I was folding laundry. I put the picture, and it actually on Josh Lloyd's show. I watched Josh Lloyd's, and then I started this beginning of Josh's show, and I actually saw my picture of my laundry come up in the bottom of his show, and I'm like, oh Jesus, Josh, don't do that. don't film the bloody thing. But I was doing laundry at the same time. And then because of Chad sleeping in, our draft got pushed back like 15, 20 minutes. And so come the end of the draft, Kingy, and like you said, these take time. Like put 2.5 hours aside, and that's reasonable instead of your usual, like maybe 45 to an hour and a half. This is like a big undertaking to do.
Yeah. We had roughly 170 picks. Yeah, so close to 3 hours. So it's a big commitment, but like you said, it's the purest form of drafting. I think a lot of people are frustrated with the snake. So if you haven't given it a go, give auction a crack. Just to reiterate, this was an industry mock draft. 9 cat was the format and a $200 budget. So keep that in mind. What I've done, I've exported from Fantrax, and we'll take you through different teams later on in Fantrax. But to give you guys the best insights into player values, that's not just Dyson Daniels going to Kayla for $37. I have sorted by most expensive to least expensive. On the left, you can see the pick at which it was taken as well, and that'll give you an insight into how aggressive people are at the outset and where you can get some value later on. Either they've fallen asleep, they've gone to work, or they're just not paying attention. And we saw that a couple of times during this industry mock draft. But let's take us through, starting at the top, Nikola Jokic. I went hard. It was the second pick. I think Amen Thompson was the first pick that went to Kayla, but I went hard for Nikola Jokic at $77. Victor Wembanyama, $74. Matty, you're okay with Victor just behind Jokic there?
Yeah, so my goal with this one being a cautionary tale is that my big thing is when people try and do an auction draft, and especially new at auction drafts, it's like I want to buy the best players. And so I wanted to give a real case example of what happens if you go chasing the players. Now, I did it I won't say the exact words because I don't know what we say for YouTube if I do, but I just went in excited to be like, I had a look at I did the research. And Kingy, you mentioned it in your pod. Josh mentioned it in his. It's like, I got them for both. I got I got Wemby and Shea for both under their expected ESPN, under their Fantrax, and under their Yahoo values. So my goal was to pitch it at under what people would be paying as the average. But like you said, when you do this, you could put a guy at 60 and see where it goes. I just went like, I want Wemby. I want Shea. And then that capped me a little bit with what I could do later on. And I had to kind of find my way. So I went for Wemby a little bit under. And Kingy, that's a really aggressive strategy.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But auction draft is full of different strategies. That's what makes it work so well. And I remember last year in industry pickup, one of the teams actually did something very similar. They went with like Jokic and Shea or something like that, and may have even paired that or added a third superstar and gone very, very, very top heavy, as you sort of did, DMAC, because you took Steph Curry, I think, from memory with your third. I took
Steph. Yeah, I also had Doncic there, Luka at 57, which I thought was good value there, but I would not suggest to most folks to go for the stars and scrubs because it does put you behind the 8 ball if you do have an injury to some of these guys, particularly when it comes to playoffs. So I think the more common approach is to go a little bit more balanced. But I just wanted to try something out, see how it played out, and it was a bit of a disaster, but I think the top-end guys are pretty impressive. And you'll see later on that some of my roster fillers were real just fly picks, but we'll go through that shortly. But Victor at $74, SGA at 69, and Luka to me again at 57. I think that's value, knowing that those guys are the top 4 consensus guys.
I think I talked about it on the draft. I've done a few auction mocks now, and there's sort of tiers of players, and I think Jokic, Wemby are the top tier, so they're going in that 70, 80 range, whatever that is. Shea and Luka, I think, is pushed up into that second tier with the injury to LeBron, so getting him for $12 less than Shea, I think, was a good deal.
I was pretty happy
and
with
then
that,
Giannis sort of is at the bottom end of that tier. And then you've got Anthony Davis. Pretty much what we've sort of got here in terms of order. You've got AD, Cade, and Anthony Edwards are probably your next group. And then there's, other than Dyson Daniels, there's probably about 12 players that are going to be within about $5 of each other, maybe even 15 players.
Yeah, and Kayla was definitely going for her guys. Went Amen Thompson as the first pick, but for $40. So she was definitely targeting a couple of guys in the draft, and that's great. You want to have fun with your team, but also be understanding that we had to fill 14 roster spots as well. So using your budget wisely across those 14 slots is very important throughout the draft. But going through, we talked about Anthony Davis. So Puppy Roy went pretty heavy on the punt free throw build. Alex Barutha, Anthony Edwards, and Cade Cunningham. Similar sort of range in terms of a snake draft and ADP. So he's got them for quite similar values there at 45 and 44. Okay with that?
That's really interesting. Yeah, well, that's why one of the first things I started to go and pick out about where these values are, because even though this was an industry one, you know how competitive it is by how much it's not meeting the let's call it the spending standards of others. So the blended average for Victor Wembanyama is 80.5. He's $82 on Yahoo, 78. I got him for 74. I tried to save a few bucks there. My big one was Shea, who's 78 and 72, 77. And I just thought I'd be cheeky and throw 69 instead of 60 because I wanted to get the draft moving at the same time. Like, hey guys, let's be aggressive and see if anyone wants to come to where they're going. Like if you're looking at the averages, and so people are looking at that, it's really aggressive. But then it does fall off to, like Kingy said, Luka's pushed up into that group now in 73. And then it's Yanni at 78. And then both of those guys are at 60 and 57. So again, he's saving money here that he can put in later, but it's about filling those spots and how much of your cap you've got left at the end to fill those buckets towards the end of the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. As we mentioned, Amen Thompson went from $40 to Kayla, a bit too aggressive for my liking, particularly as Trey Young went for the same price. Devin Booker went for less than Amen Thompson. But again, if you want your guy, you go and grab him. But $40 for Amen. Devin Booker, 39. Karl Anthony Towns, 38 to Adam Stock. And then the aforementioned Dyson Daniels to Kayla for 37, I think was probably the most aggressive. I want to be nice about that, Kayla. I know you love Dyson, so that's on point with your brand. But 37, way too high.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think she'd disagree. She would be doing her job if she did. But absolutely, like when I was watching it live, and I knew that Eric actually said in the chat before the show started that he was going to do a Kingy build. So I sort of knew what kind of players he was going after, and Dyson obviously fits that sort of defensive-minded build. So it was a perfect storm, so to speak. It was Kayla in her first auction draft, head over heels in love with Dyson Daniels, and Eric really chasing those steals. So they just fed off each other.
Here's a funny story, King. Do you know that she owns the sister card to that Dyson Daniels autograph card that I gave you? So you have one of the two that I picked up, and she has the other one. So it's kind of funny that both of you guys, the Dysoners, and Eric's just sitting there like, I just want to make her jealous and do a defensive build.
Just wait until Dyson's little brother comes into the league. Having Dyson and Dash in the same auction draft will be quite the viewing. James Harden at 36, I think, was fine. Evan Mobley. So these guys all went for 36. So Harden, Mobley, Tyrese Maxey, Steph Curry to myself. Anything that stands out there, or all pretty okay there?
Good prices.
I think it's fine. If we, again, in your head, you sort of go, where do these guys sit in a regular snake draft? And they're all in the same range, as are Kevin Durant, Jalen Williams, Jalen Johnson. All these guys are sort of in that 9 to 20 range. So it's fine.
There's nothing egregious here. Yeah, go on, mate.
No, and not to say that I would have got them. But when you said those $26 guys, where were they? A second ago, there was the picks there for $26. I just saw like I could have had so 36. So if you go back up to the top right there and you have a look at the quick muff really quickly, 74 Victor Wembanyama, pretty much there you go. I could have had two guys for the price of one. I could have taken a Harden and a Mobley for that exact price. So when we say that if you want to get your guys, that's fine. Don't go chasing more than one. If you want to have one superstar, I could have had Wemby, but instead of getting Shea as my second pick, I could have had guys who were 9 cats, a first-round value, like a Tyrese Maxey, like an Evan Mobley. We just did the top 100 show all together, guys. And I know, Kingy, you put Evan Mobley in that like really early zone. There's two guys for the exact same price you can get. So it kind of just shows you the value you can eke out. That's a 2-for-1. Fills the roster, and it's much better on you at the end of the day. So the cautionary tale is don't be too aggressive. 1 star, that's all you need if you need one at all.
Yeah, it does mitigate that risk of any injuries later on, as we mentioned at the top of the show as well. Now, going through some of the others, we mentioned KD's Josh Lloyd at 35, J-Dub at 35. Some question marks around his health, but it's fine. Jalen Johnson at 34, Chet Holmgren at 34. Josh Giddey went to Yuri Ono of Bitches Be Balling. So Josh Giddey at 33, huge hype around him at the moment. Both of you guys, I'm pretty sure, Kingy, you're a fan of Josh Giddey's as well.
Yeah, I like Giddey. I do worry that a lot of his value is being stripped back because of how high people are on him. That's not to say I wouldn't consider taking him, but it was more enjoyable to draft him when you could get him in the sort of in the mid 30s, closer to 40, and now he's pushed into the 20s, which I think is fine, but it's it adds a little bit of risk and gets rid of some of that value.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell at 33, I think was good. Scotty Barnes also to Yuri at $29. Derek White, 28. He's moving up draft boards in snakes for me, so 28 seems about right. I don't think Boston will have that shutdown risk. I just think in the weaker Eastern Conference, I think they'll be okay. And there's some talk around Jason Tatum actually playing this season. So does that give them a little bit of encouragement, some impetus to play a little bit harder and keep Jaylen Brown and Derek White on the court? Remains to be seen. But yeah, I don't mind White there. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
No, all plays out pretty much the way that it is. I think what you're picking up right now when we look at the value is that people are getting around their value. And again, it's really interesting that everyone's kind of getting these guys for under the average price. The big one here was Cooper Flag coming out at $27.
Yeah.
I think that's the look for me. It's over what he's been going for on his averages with punters, but that was a bit of a bidding war. Like, it's also the aggressive thing. Like, Kingy, how do you play this? Because again, you're a master, and again, you were the voyeur. I used to call you the punt master general. Now I'm just going to call you the trench coat.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's fair. I like to watch. What's your strategy when it is to just pissing people off? Because I did it a few times, and King, you would have noticed this watching. Like, why is Matty bidding? He hasn't got the money. And Josh mentions, well, I just want to piss people off. I want to make them spend their money in an auction draft. That's a tactic. It's a strategy. You should use that. And people, I don't think, do it enough. And I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the risk, and I think Josh talked about this on his show. The risk is that you sort of you put yourself in a position to maybe land a player that you don't really want. And especially if you don't have a lot of money, like you guys didn't have a lot of money, there's a chance if you sort of miscalculate that you end up putting yourself in a position where you have to draft 8 $1 players or something like that at the end.
Hey, look, I got Keegan Murray for $1. That was a strategic thing. I didn't think anyone would let me get him for $1. Like, and you guys know that I was pre-bidding pretty aggressively. The news of the injury just came out. I knew it was going to be a similar time frame. I messaged you, Kingy, on the line, like, this draft would have like IR spots, right? And you're like, yeah, it would. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, if I can get Keegan Murray for $1, like, I'm taking him every day of the week. Like, and so I was like, great value. So I mean, that's where I tried to eke back some of the other stuff, but again, it gets really rough. But some of these guys, like, look at Kawhi Leonard for 25. Like, I could have had bloody Jalen Brunson. Like, this is the crazy thing, and this is the takeaway from auction drafts. Had you played it properly, I could have had Denny Advia, Kawhi Leonard, and Ja Morant for cheaper than Victor Wembanyama by himself. Oh, actually cheaper for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander by himself.
Yeah, and that's that sort of middle tier value that you're trying to get in auction drafts as well. So that's what we suggest that you do. But again, there is some merit in trying to go top heavy as well, but just don't be too aggressive is what we're trying to say. You mentioned Kawhi Leonard for 25, Denny Avdia for 24. Paolo Banchero went to Josh Lloyd as well for $24. Are you that high on Paolo Banchero? I know, Kingy, you like to build a few teams with Paolo.
Yeah, I don't mind building with him. I think for $24, sorry, that's a decent price. I think Josh was pretty happy with that from memory. I was watching the show at like 12:30 this morning in bed, so 12:30 a.m. So yeah, I think he was pretty happy with that. I think 24 is fine. We just did our top 100 show, and I think I had him maybe just inside the top 40. If I think back 1 hour to when we did that show. So you look at the guys that are around him here: Porzingis, Avdia, Miles Turner, Brandon Miller, Kawhi. They're all in that top 40 to top 50 range. So I think 24 for Paolo is quite good. And as we know, you punt a couple of categories, he moves up to be a second round player. So
absolutely,
yeah. Good value.
KP to you, Matty G. You've been big on KP all preseason.
Yeah, look, it's Kristaps Porzingis. He's a potential first, second round player at the end of the day. And this is the thing that broke my heart is I knew that I think other people put in and got involved. I think Josh went for him as well. And he was like, do I not? So I know that he values him around the same, but I just know that he's not going for that in other drafts. But this was my thing. I wanted to pair Victor Wembanyama with at least one other solid shot blocker. So I had Zach Edey, who I had to bid for later on in my queue. I had Kristaps Porzingis. I had Jaren Jackson Jr. in my queue. I had Alex Sarr in my queue. And so I'm like, which one of these guys can I get to help me lock down blocks in this draft? And
You're
so
just trying to get all these unicorns. KP,
I'm trying to get all the unis.
All the unicorns. What about Luke Cornett?
I didn't get the Unicornet in that one, but the Unicornetto, delicious tasting and available this summer, thanks to Streets, most likely. But yeah, no, look, KP here is over market value of what others are paying. In fact, when I looked it up afterwards, I went back and did the research. Kristaps is $19 is a value. He's actually going for under that. So I think he's a bit of a steal in your draft, especially if you are on cash leagues for ESPN. I really highly recommend targeting Kristaps because his current value is $6.70 is his average, $11. And I've paid over double that, but he's a $20 player value-wise, $25 player. So for me, if you're an ESPN, just look to draft Kristaps is the takeaway there.
Yeah, you raise a good point as well, Matty. Just even though you may not be involved with an auction draft this season, you can get some relatively good information out of this as well. Where do people like us value these guys in terms of an auction? Where does that place them in terms of a snake draft as well? It also helps you build out your team as well. But let's continue on with some of the names. Miles Turner, $24. Brandon Miller, nice upside play, $23. Ja Morant, $22. Jaylen Brown, $22. And Jaren Jackson Jr., also to Josh Lloyd at $22, I think is a nice value pick there.
Yeah, I like Jaren. I just done a real auction draft the day before with a lot of my friends, and pretty sure I got Jaren in that draft for about 25 or 26. So I think 22 is good value.
Yeah, another shout out to Josh Lloyd. Great drafting here. Would have been nice if I had the money. And this is the pitfalls of going so hard so early on some of these elite guys. But Austin Reeves at 21, moving up those draft boards in terms of snake. Probably as well in auctions as well. He's going to have a nice bump while LeBron's out.
Yeah. We just he was pretty high in our top 100 show. We just did as well. $21, very nice.
Which is only $1 more than the aforementioned LeBron James. So Yuri, be aggressive on LeBron James.
Yeah.
She was still so hard to stash him, whatever, and that's fine.
It's just really hard, I think, with this LeBron
it's
injury.
Hard to judge it.
We don't know much about it in terms of it's not a common injury. I said this on my show. It's not an ankle sprain. It's not an MCL. So there isn't we know this is a 4-week injury. It could be 4 weeks, but it could linger all season. It could mean that he doesn't play back-to-backs. We just don't know. And his age, obviously, I know he's sort of the whole father time is undefeated kind of thing, and LeBron is trying to prove that wrong, but maybe it is catching up with him.
Yeah. And when we think to a snake draft as well, he's probably been taken now.
Like it's freaking an old person thing.
It is an old person thing. Shout out to all the 40-year-olds. We're the same age. But he's been taken for $20, which is the same as Kobe White, Zion, Jakob Poeltl. They're all now in a snake draft. They're not too far apart. Maybe Zion a little bit higher, but they're all about that same range in terms of a snake draft. So I don't actually, at the time, I thought, geez, that's too aggressive on LeBron. Now you look at it and compare it to some of the other guys. It's not that far off. So not bad at all.
I think it's subjective. I mean, it comes down to what do you think about LeBron James? If you think that he's going to miss 3 weeks and then come back and play 60 games, then $20 is great value.
It's a bargain.
If you think he's going to play 40 games and only manage his minutes and whatever, then it's too much. So it is very subjective, an auction draft.
Absolutely. De'Aaron Fox for $20. Asar Thompson moving up those boards. Asar Thompson, $19. Alex Barutha, he's got his guy, and I think we're all pretty high on Asar Thompson. Is that aggressive or is that about right?
I think it's okay.
It's okay. It's not like there was a lot of bids, wasn't there? For this? There was a lot of bids. People like him. I think there was more of a display, a peacocking of I appreciate him. I appreciate him. I appreciate him. And I think that's fair. But when we start to put the numbers together, how much do we appreciate him? Amen Thompson, his brother is going for $37 now, but he's probably a $25 player is the average. So there's people have bumped him up $25 according to the averages across ESPN and Yahoo. I think the adverse of that is for Asar, where he's valued at a $9 player, and he's going for $9 on Yahoo, but $3 on ESPN. So $6 overall. So then you see that come into play for 19, and that looks like an overpay there. But I think if there's a breakout involved, you're kind of happy with it if he's a Kawhi Leonard light.
Yeah, but you do compare it to the guys that are about the same price there. OG Anunoby, Jimmy Butler, Alex, probably Trey. I got Trey Murphy for 17. I would much rather have Trey Murphy than Asad Thompson. So,
Agreed. All those guys who are cheaper. All those guys who are cheaper, right there, Kingy. Do the checklist with me. So let's go this one. OG Anunoby. Let's call him the same price. The cheaper guys, Donovan Clingan. Would you take him over Asad Thompson? Yes or no?
No.
Sar?
I'd take it, Sar. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No. Ooh. Murphy.
Yes.
Vucevic.
I think he will. I think he should go ahead of him. Whether I would take him, I don't know. He is like the Tobias Harris of Chicago Bulls. He's very boring. So yeah, I think probably yeah.
Yeah, there's a few other names under there as well that arguably would go ahead of him in a snake draft. So it is making for some interesting reading. Emmanuel, quickly for 16. Your guy, Tyler Hero, actually went to Josh Lloyd for $16. Again, probably going to miss the first month, if not 5 weeks of the season. But at that value, where he's a top or a potential top 30 guy per game, great value there. Embiid, 15. Are we touching Embiid, guys? I think, Kingy, you put him at number 50 in our top 100 ranks. Moments ago.
Yeah, look, again, I think it would depend on who I drafted beforehand. If I said in that top 100 show, if you've drafted a reliable, good center like a Joel Embiid or a Wembanyama or even a Miles Turner or something like that, then maybe. But I do remember this was Noah took him with his first pick. So you're sort of banking on then or pigeonholing yourself into having to draft a good center later. And by the time he made this pick, which was pick 32, a lot of those elite centers are gone. So he sort of dug a little bit of a hole there for himself. So I don't think it's a terrible price, but it is dependent on the rest of your roster, which at that point, Noah had no idea what that looked like.
I had no idea. He was very quiet at the start of that draft as well, so I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, you make a really good point, Kingy, that if you do wait too long, then you start missing out on some good guys and maybe reaching for guys that maybe you shouldn't. But this is true to form. Noah grabbing Larry Markkinen. I think I have seen Noah grab Larry Markkinen in a lot of mock drafts. And so, yeah, that wasn't a surprise at all. Michael Porter Jr. for $15. Again, it's the Nets shutdown risk. So, yeah, play that out as you see fit. But for me, Nets is a little bit risky unless it's a games cap or a roto format at that point for $15. Jalen Duren I much prefer for $15 as well over Michael Porter Jr.
Great buy.
Zubac for 14. You're getting some nice value here. Zubac for 14. Desmond Bain for 14. Peyton Pritchard for 14. Brandon Ingram for 14. I love all of these. Zach Edey went to you, Matty G. Take us through that.
This was part of my get blocks build at the end of the day. So Zach Edey, Kristaps, and Victor Wembanyama are pretty much just slowing down rebounds, blocks, really good field goal percentage for me. That's kind of was the target of the build, just to try and lock those. Again, what is the pairing to Wembanyama and what is the price on that? So I know Josh's thing on his show is like, I shouldn't have let Matty get Kristaps with Victor. When I heard that, I'm like, okay, that's a good pairing. So then I tried to complement with one other guy because I think people look at pairs like, oh, I'm okay with blocks because I've got Wemby. Don't. Like, you probably need 3 to bring that back. I loved Pritchard for $14, Kingy. I just wish I had more money because I had guys in my queue here. Like, I had Pritchard and I had Shaden Sharp, who you guys both know that I like. $13 probably a little bit high. But then guys all around the same value start to flow off the board, like Kamara, Bridges, Ware. Like, all that value around these same guys is pretty much pick your wing, pick who you want, and you can get those guys for similar dollar value.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I talked about this as well on the show, that because the amount of times I've left an auction draft with $5, $6, $7, or you end up sort of spending $12 on a $3 player just to use all your money with your last pick. So if there's a player at the top end of the draft, first 20, 30 picks that you value as a $25 player. Don't be afraid to go to 28. And that could be the case like there with Asar. It's probably a little bit above what he would normally go for, but chances are you are going to catch some value if you've positioned yourself well. When you get down, because you look at a lot of these guys here that went for, as you said, 14, 13, 12, 11, and you could make a case for those guys to be $15 players. So you pick up 2 of those and you've saved $6. So it does tend to even out in a lot of situations.
Yeah, an auction allows you to be aggressive as well. If you are building a certain, having a certain punt build as well, if you know that this guy's really going to give you some fantastic value with your punt, then you do go a little bit more aggressive and go. People will say, "Man, why did you spend $12 on Isaiah Jackson?" Well, maybe that is just the punt that you're going for. But that one did stand out. Isaiah Jackson for $12 there. Paul George for 11. I think I valued him in our top 100 in the 90s. And again, that's hoping that he can stay on court for a little bit more than what we'd seen last season. But $11 for Paul George. There's some upside there, but maybe you could have got him a little bit cheaper.
It's hoping, isn't it? Hoping that he can get on the court. He's not healthy yet.
Exactly right. We haven't seen him at all, apart from doing his own podcast. So shout out to fellow podcasters. Zach Levine, $11. Kevin Porter Jr. to Calafonte. A bit of a hype guy here, but decent. $11 seems a little high for me, particularly when, again, we do a comparison. $11 for KPJ. I'm not sure.
Zach Levine was $11. Like, Zach's better than him. So it's like much of a muchness at the end of the day when you want those guys. But yeah, for me, it's high, but he is getting a bit of a bump right now. There's a bit of pressure on him. And again, for the same cost, Paul George, really high play. But then beneath that, I'd love a Cam Johnson in my team for 10. I'd love a Cam Johnson. Hartenstein. Yeah, I'd love a Hartenstein for 9. I'd love a Devin Vassell. I'd love I tried to. Herb Jones went late, as you can see, 122. I had him in my queue when I wanted him. I wanted DeAndre Ayton at $7. Josh got him for $7. These are guys that I would much rather have in my team. Some real value starts to happen, I think, just under that $10 threshold when people start to lose money. And I think a tactic, Kingy, you would observe this as being the person watching. What is your takeaway about nominations? Because I think people played this nomination-wise really well. I think there was a really good mix at the start of dropping off really early round, high cash value players, and then guys who are on the hype train, like the Bazelis and like the Thompson twins. And one of the ways that you should attack your mock draft, not once did I nominate a player that I wanted. At the end, my auto queue, I think I sent you a picture, D-Mac. I was like pushing a pram at one point with one hand because we were taking so long. I'm like there we go. I'm literally on a train station platform, walking across the bridge, trying to rock my son to sleep, trying to finish off the draft. When it gets to that, Kingy, what's your best advice for tactics about nominating players? Because this is what happens when people just try to get all those value guys out of the way and give you huge amount of value at the end of towards the end of your draft, not the end of the draft, but towards the end of your draft.
Yeah, the general consensus is that you want to get money off the board, and however you go about doing that, the easiest way is to nominate Jokic and Wemby and Shea and get these guys out very early. Then it is to target the hype guys, like you said, Cooper Flagg, get him out there, and he went above price. Asar Thompson went above price. So it's knowing who are analysts high on, who has played really well in the preseason, who is building momentum. You cross your fingers and hope that certain players you have in your queue are nominated after pick 70, 80, 90, because as you've said, and as you can see here, all of these players that are going for $7, $6, like if Tari Eason was nominated at pick 31, he probably would have gone for about $12. $13. If Reed Shepherd had been nominated earlier, I reckon a couple of people would have got in a bidding war over him, and he might have gone for closer to $10. So you just want to hope that certain players fall and nominate players, as you said, that you don't want, and just try to drain everyone's money so that when you get into the back end, there's more value to be found. And that's usually what you will find in an auction.
Yeah, and we'll quickly run through these as well. Those of you watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see this on the screen, but just some interesting picks. We spoke about Aiton, but Randall at 7 to Josh, Norman Powell for $7, Benedict Mathurin for 7, Jaden McDaniels to Puppy Roy for 7, and Dante DiVincenzo for 7. All good value picks there.
My heart. I missed Dante. I wanted him. I would have taken him for up 10, by the way. I would have taken Dante. I like that.
Yeah, we spoke about Mike Conley. I think, Adam, you mentioned Mike Conley's half in the grave, a little bit morbid. But I think Dante DiVincenzo has a nice season this season. Tari Easton for 6, Andrew Wiggins for 6. So Josh Lloyd was cleaning up in around that $10 and less mark as well. So well played to Josh. Walker Kessler, that's a nice per game pick. Wonderful per game pick. And I guess that's the thing as well. You get these value guys for Utah, for the Nets as well. Whether or not they stay on the court remains to be seen. But yeah, Walker Kessler on a per game basis for $5, huge value there. And I think it's low risk if you do get him here for 5.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
what was the draft?
Yeah, there's usually in every auction draft, there's 1 or 2 players that for whatever reason they basically get nominated and everyone misses it, and they just almost sail through to whoever nominated or the one person that bidded. And Kessler was that one. He sort of just popped up, and for whatever reason, no one saw him because I can almost guarantee that he should have, just based on what a lot of those other centers in that range were going for. Like Donovan Clingan went for $18, for example. And now I would rather Kessler over Donovan Clingan, and he went for $13 less. So there is always one. It's random, but it tends to happen in almost every auction draft.
Let me bring it up here. Kessler's current bidding. There you go. So his current market value is $10.04. He's valued at a $12 player. His Yahoo average, according to Hashtag Basketball, currently on Yahoo is $13 and $8 on ESPN. So yeah, just sailed on in there and a few dollars chipped away and saved money in the end of the day.
Yep, the pick of the draft for me. We'll go through the rest as well, and we'll get to some more value picks. But Christian Brown for 5, Reed Shepherd for 5, Tobias Harris for 5, and Jalen Suggs for 5, as well as Davion Mitchell, who I'm probably a little bit lower on Davion because he hasn't had the most impressive preseason, even though he should be stepping up with Tyler Hero sidelined.
Hey, guess who's making his first podcast appearance?
Who's this?
At 11 o'clock at night. There you go.
I think someone's crept out of bed. Hey, buddy. You've never met the guys before. Welcome to D-Mac and Kingy. This is great.
Hello, everybody. Here we go. Special cameo appearance, everyone. What is he?
What did Grayson Allen go for? He's not named after you, by the way.
Right. Yeah, we'll get to was Grayson even drafted? We'll get to that shortly, but
he was not.
Davion, he wasn't. Davion for 5. And we'll quickly run through these just to finish off the episode, guys. But Naz Reid 4, Drew Holiday 4. I really like that one. Look at these. Bradley Beal for 3, CJ McCollum for 3, Draymond Green for $3, Keyshawn George, one of your guys, Kingy. He went for 3. You like that one?
Yeah. Yeah, for $3. And again, Eric had already said he was going for the sort of punt build that I like to do. And so Keyshawn George is a perfect fit for that. If you look down there too, Nick Claxton for $2, that feels like really nice value.
That's insane.
Mitchell Robinson for $2.
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson for $2 must have made you very, very happy. I saw that. I was like, yeah.
I know, Kingy, that you're high on Taylor Hendricks as a late round flyer, so $2 I think is fine. Brandon Pajemski, I really love that one from Noah Rubin for $2. Fantastic. Going through very quickly, these are flyer picks. Scoot Henderson's a stash by me. But yeah, as you can tell, I didn't have enough money, so I'm going these more flyer picks. But Ryan Kalkbrenner, Scoot Henderson as a stash. DeJounte, Matty, I nominated him for $1, and I thought I'd grab him as a nice, easy one. But yeah, thank you for that. And I couldn't match that because I had no money left.
That's exactly why I took him, just to annoy you.
Thanks, mate.
My next one here is, I just like Kingy said, guys who just slipped under the radar. Keegan Murray, it was the day of his injury. I wanted to see what the feedback analyst-wise was for that one. Slipped him into the draft just to nominate him. I'm surprised no one even thought, oh, I can stash him. So I was like, no one's doing this. This is great. I'll take him for $1. So I was really happy there. And of all these last picks value-wise for $1, I believe he was the best value player outside RJ Barrett from Caleb Fonte at 91. Yeah. So I got him at 77. And this pick went, as you said, quite deep. So for me, I thought that was one of the steals of the draft where you see where he went and what his value could be at the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now we're getting into real late round flyers. Guys like Nemeas Cater, I did him. Kelly Oubre, Keon Ellis, Daniel Gafford, Adam Boner. Yeah, these are all late round guys that we've spoken about on other podcasts. Josh Lloyd picked up Jay Huff as well. So Isaiah Jackson not having the best preseason. I still believe in him long term, but perhaps there's still some value with Jay Huff as well. Anything else that sticks out? Oh, Kyrie Irving went to me for $1. That's a real nice stash.
Yeah,
no, that was about it. No, that's it. I thought that was one of the picks. Apart from guys like PJ Washington down the end and Ayo DeSumo to you as well, I thought was a really nice pick. Guys getting out of your queue at the very, very end. I thought that was really nice picking, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much, mate. Look, I don't think we'll spend more time going through everyone's teams, but auction drafting, love it, hate it, want to see more of it.
Grayson, do you want more auction drafting?
Big thumbs up, Grayson.
I'm getting nods. Wait, good job.
Yeah.
Do we get good job?
No, I love auction drafts, but I get it. I understand why they're not as popular because they do take more time, more organization. But if you can plan ahead, there's no reason that you can't get everyone together. I mean, we're all in different areas of the world and we manage to do it. So, it's doable and it is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And before I go, special mention, Believe in Fantasy. Make sure you join the community. So you'll get exclusive MVP Discord access with their experts. You'll get exclusive email responses as well, all led by Robin and the crew at Believe in Fantasy. Matty G, you're part of that crew as well. I am also part of that crew. So make sure you visit believeinfantasy.com. Thank you so much, guys. That was awesome. Love the recap as well. Auction drafts, get amongst it. Love it. Thank you, guys. Love you all. Until next time.
Cheers, mate.
See ya. Bye. Bye.